is our coinage for the convergence of four big technologies: energy technologies, information technologies, building technologies, and vehicle technologies, and how they're starting to come together to converge, to mash up in ways that is going to have a profound effect on businesses, on the products and services they sell, on the business models in which they operate, and on the way that they actually conduct business. Right? So these four technologies are coming together, and we think about the last convergence that we had. It was around computers, telephones, media, and commerce, right? We all carry around that now. Some of you are checking on it at this very moment. We know how that's changed things. We know how that's changed how we communicate, how we get around, how we get entertainment, how we conduct business, how we date, how we do just about everything. And those are fairly fast turnaround, relatively low capital-intensive kinds of products and technologies. Now we're talking about energy technologies, huge, not just energy plants, but distributed energy and the grid around which that's connected. We're talking about the entire IT world, from wireless communications to GPS and cloud computing and broadband, building technologies, everything involved with the new way buildings are becoming not just greener but smarter, and the amount of information that they're generating, and transportation technologies, and how that's starting to change, where it's not just standalone vehicles but very much an interconnected world. This is going to be significant, and this is not science fiction. So we're already seeing this on the energy front. We're beginning to see how energy has become a two-way, interactive product and service, where everything is becoming smarter and more connected and able to have a two-way conversation with the mainframe, if you will, which is the utility, the power plant. And as a result, how we can monitor and optimize energy and make it more available in the way that it needs to be available, at the time it needs to be available, more efficiently than ever before. The IT world is extremely, I don't think we have to talk about it here in San Francisco about how that's transforming things, but I think what's significant is this Internet of Things, this interconnected world where it's not just computers and phones anymore, but everything. Everything in this building potentially can be addressable, can have an IP address, can be connected via wireless technology or sensors and monitored, optimized and controlled. So the lights, the air conditioning system, this microphone, the refrigeration unit in the kitchen, or the air conditioning system, and everything around it in the parking lot and on the street connected to it, they start to be smarter and addressable. And of course that goes to the built environment, where we're starting to see this incredible amount of interconnectivity in smart buildings and the amount of data coming out of buildings. So this mashup of IT and buildings, where you now have a connected building that literally can have tens of thousands of sensors and be creating hundreds of thousands or even millions of data points in the course of a day, a week, a month. And what you do, or what you get to do when you have that kind of data, what gets to happen when you can monitor buildings at that level of scrutiny, that level of granularity? What do you get to do when you can control things, when you can optimize things, when you can predict things, when you can know where people are going to be even before they get there? And what does that get to do to the ability to make that building not just more efficient, but more productive and more comfortable at a fraction of the cost of operations, without a lot more capital intensiveness in creating it? And transportation. I mean, a car going down a smart roadway, which is to say a roadway embedded with some kinds of intelligent systems, in the not very distant future, is going to have 5 different data streams going on at once. It's going to be vehicle to roadway. If it's an electric vehicle, it'll be vehicle to grid, be vehicle to cloud, which is the entertainment system, or lots of other data coming into the car, be vehicle to driver, which is the basic dashboard of the things we're now getting, except in a much more robust way, and vehicle-to-vehicle, which is going to allow vehicles to travel more safely, at closer range, at higher speed, reducing congestion, improving safety, sometimes autonomously, which means without even driver interaction. We have a good friend called Larry Burns, who was a former head of R&D at GM. He told me a few years ago, he said, my daughter just turned 17, and for the first time, I'm getting to see what 17-year-olds do when they drive, right? So they're doing this, and 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 who knows what else. He said, I've come to conclude that driving is a distraction. Right? And that's a nice quip, but the implications of that are profound. What do you get to do? How do you think about designing cars and vehicles in a world where driving is the distraction? That's an incredible problem statement. So you put all this together, and there are some fundamental questions that come out of this, fundamentally exciting questions that become the basis of all the work that's going to be done by startups and by very, very big companies, from utilities to car companies, building companies, of course, everyone involved with any kind of IT. What are the opportunities here in a world of convergence? What are the threats to the way you operate now? How does this change how you do business? How do you not become Barnes & Noble and Blockbuster and all the others that are no longer relevant? How do you need to rethink even the business model of what you're selling and how you're selling it? And is it really a sales kind of thing? Is it about ownership anymore, or about some other kind of business model? Who are you partners? Who should you be playing with? I mean, Verge is a convergence of technologies, but it's also a convergence of players, because now you have IT companies in the energy business, and energy companies in the IT business, and car companies that are very much around the built environment, and on and on. Who do you partner with, and in what ways do you partner, and who are the non-traditional partners that you start to look at when you think about this? And not inconsequentially, what are the jobs and careers that you all need to have, and the skill sets in a world of convergence, but that you need to be looking for as you grow your companies, as you hire, as you look at the next generation of employees? How does that how do you think about who those are? What are your job prospects? How do you look at your careers 5, 10 years from now? Verge is not science fiction. All of these technologies exist. All of these things are happening now. They're either at the pilot stage or at commercial stage somewhere in the world. A lot of them are happening right here. We're going to be seeing this in many ways, in many forms. It's one of the most exciting things we see going on, because it's really about the convergence of clean, green, and smart. And ultimately, when we think about what we all do from a sustainability perspective, this should ultimately be about those three things. So Verge is the most exciting thing we see going on out there.